Uggs and yoga pants.
When a girl goes out in something like sweats and just sweats.
Skinny jeans.
I actually like it when there's, not necessarily shows a personality, but is kind of unique.
To put it as respectfully as possible, I think something that shows a woman's natural curves is attractive.
This is an interview from freshman boys at Penn State discussing their views on women's fashion. Over the 20th and 21st century, women have been judged by the way that they dress. Fashion has always been a crucial aspect of a woman's status. A woman's status in society is based on how she dresses, and we argue whether this is fair or not.
The 1900s and 1910s were a time of elegance. Everything was designed to give a woman an hourglass-shaped figure. Women wore corsets to create a tiny waist illusion and long dresses that accented their chests and hips. Women were used only as a trophy or piece of art for her husband. She had no rights and therefore no need for movement in her fashion style. By the end of the 1910s, due to World War I, women lost the corsets and shortened the dresses. These dresses became known as hobble skirts and allowed women to dance and work around the house. This change was essential in the development of the role of women by allowing them to have a use in society. The Roaring Twenties, prosperity, prohibition, and jazz. This was a time of great change, and it was a reaction to women's suffrage in World War I. The women's suffrage movement granted them the right to vote, and World War I granted women the freedom to work and be independent in society. The flapper girl image was born. Women wore straight-line dresses that showed off their legs, bobbed their hair, and wore close-fitted plush hats to accent their small heads. Accessories were essential, and cosmetics became a thing that everyday women wore.
Just the ripple of this black taffeta gown which stars a bodice of taffeta, a matching skirt covered with black net. The material is gathered in.
The 30s and 40s brought around the Depression and World War II. Women were now needed in society to work in order to provide for their families. Therefore, the flashy and fun outfits of the 20s were over. Dresses were sleek and low against the body and were belted to the waist. In 1940, women were left in America to provide for the men fighting in Europe. This caused the image of American women to take on a look of strength and confidence during this era. The broad-shouldered look was everything in fashion, and so were bold-printed dresses, sweetheart necklines, and old-fashioned styles. Pin-up girls became popular for men fighting in the war. This era saw a growth of women's confidence and importance in society.
For the world of women in the secrecy of her salons. And so she walks, a lady of rank among her equals, on the stairway of high fashion, which leads to the stars.
My darling, to the Tennessee waltz, when an old...
Men wanted the women to stay home, to work in the kitchen, and to take care of the kids. In order to fulfill these expectations, their dress style went back to the popular hourglass shape. When quoting the Academy of Charm, the ideal 1950s shape was described as follows. Unlike in the Roaring Twenties, women put themselves back into the uncomfortable and inconvenient undergarments, now made out of nylon, to pursue the tiny waist. However, women were also seen as an asset when they attended social gatherings for their husbands. The mini black dress was an essential item in every woman's closet, mainly promoted by Audrey Hepburn. Another great example to highlight the importance of women's appearance is Grace Kelly, who is one of the most sophisticated and elegant women in this era, and who achieved to become a princess when marrying Prince Rainier of Monaco. Starting off the era with the formative election of John F. Kennedy, his wife was now in place to dominate the fashion world. Although she preferred to stay in the background, as she says in these tapes,
You really become the kind of wife that you can see that your husband wants.
She says if she couldn't help him on politics, she could keep harmony at home.
But I did like to stay in the background. I think he appreciated that in a wife.
she was put right into the center of attention by the media because of her flawless and classy appearance. Leslie Lawson, also known as Twiggy, brought color and cheekiness into the women's lives. They were now seen with fun and joy. They also gained more autonomy due to the legalization of birth control. With the arrival of the hippies, women also gained liberty, freedom, and love. Now there was room for experimenting, even for nudism. The hippie trend went on in the 1970s. Anything that made a statement was acceptable. From tie-dye to bell-bottoms and the famous leisure suits in boho style, to leather jacket and the punky revolution, anything was fine. Suddenly, women became attractive and desirable.
The 80s were a time for being bigger and better than ever before. Women had more of a selection in the types of clothes that they wore. Common aspects of women's fashion for this time were shoulder pads, scrunchies, neon clothes, leg warmers, leggings, oversized sweatshirts that exposed one bare shoulder, costume jewelry, and colorful makeup. Women showed wealth and luxury by wearing faux gold jewelry, flashy clothing, and pearl necklaces. TV and music began to influence women's fashion, and Madonna's style was very prevalent. Brand names were becoming ever more important. The 1980s gave women the freedom to use clothes as an expression of who they were. The 1990s can be seen as an anti-fashion decade. Women were dressing down with simple, understated clothing, especially compared to the 80s. TV influenced a lot of neon and printed shirts. Singers like Britney Spears acted as a fashion role model for teens. Denim everything was a very popular trend, as well as jelly shoes, slap bracelets, exercise wear, grunge fashion, and baggy clothes. Designers that were popular were The Gap, Tommy Hilfiger, Gucci, and Lacoste. Women did not want to conform to one style.
I never know what to wear.
Yeah, it must be really hard for you, Victoria. You know, trying to decide whether to wear the little Gucci dress, or the little Gucci dress.
Exactly.
I know. Why don't you wear the little Gucci dress?
The called mashup decade of the 2000s had its namesake due to the fact that it did not have one set style. Women were moving away from the unisex styles of the 90s and wearing more feminine and dressy styles. Women could be found wearing denim miniskirts, ripped jeans, tank tops, flip-flops, Ugg boots, Daisy Duke shorts, and polo shirts. Jeans were becoming more form-fitting and skinny jeans were here to stay. Abercrombie and Juicy Couture were popular brands for women of this time to have. There were many types of styles such as boho chic, goth, and preppy. All of these styles were being worn by celebrities, which helped them catch on to the general public. Women had choices which allowed them to dress themselves for whatever mood that they were in. Current day fashion is tough to nail down because it is changing right before our eyes. One prominent trend in current women's fashion would be the hipster clothing. Popular clothing stores for women consist of Forever 21, Urban Outfitters, and American Eagle. Women of this time are always trying to one-up each other and get the latest trends before their friends. They compete with each other to be perceived as the best.
In sociology, we talk about symbols. Symbols are things that have a shared cultural meaning. When a woman uses symbols in a certain way, she doesn't say to herself, oh, I know I'm using symbols, but it definitely is going to influence how people see her. Another good example for thinking about that is the career fair. The students are all using symbols. They're all wearing dark colored clothing, they're all wearing a suit, the women are wearing a modest skirt and low-heeled shoes. The goal is to communicate to those people, those interviewing people, I have the potential to fit into your organization. Absolutely, women and men, the way that they use symbols, the way that they, what we could also call their style, is definitely going to influence how people perceive them. And it's a way of communicating. It's a really powerful way that we express our beliefs and our individuality.
However, still to this day, women are constantly judged by the way they look and dress. It is subconsciously programmed into women that they must look pretty to attract the best mate because their role is to find a man, settle down, and bring up children. We argue that this should not be the case anymore. Women's clothing styles should be about finding individualism and personality through the clothes that women wear. Society has changed through the years, and as demonstrated, so has the clothing styles of women. But the way we still view women as pretty little dolls that are designed to find a certain image should not be tolerated. Women should have a say, like men in society, to dress in their own individual style and not conform to a present image. They have gained that right.
So with individuality in mind, what do you think about us?